All right, let's talk about how a revolutionary general becomes an absolute ruler in just 5 years. This is the story of the French consulate, but it's really a masterclass in how to seize power, step by methodical step.
So how does that even happen? How does a republic born from a revolution against a king turn into a dictatorship in the blink of an eye? Well, for France in 1799, the answer was an institution called the Consulate. And you got to understand, this thing was basically designed to funnel all the power from the many right into the hands of one man.
But to really get Napoleon's rise, you have to see the absolute chaos he climbed out of. The French Revolution had, in a way, eaten itself. The government it left behind, called the Directory, was teetering on the brink of complete and total collapse.
I mean, by 1799, France was an absolute mess. It was getting hammered in foreign wars. You had royalists trying to bring back the king rising up in the south. In the west, a full-blown guerrilla war was raging. And back in Paris, the government was just paralyzed by plots and counterplots. The country was bleeding out, and that created a huge power vacuum, just waiting for someone to fill it.
So one of the top guys in the government, a director named Emmanuel Josephine, he saw the writing on the wall. He knew the republic was dying, and something drastic had to be done. And he had this idea that to save it, you needed two things: a head, a political mastermind, which, he figured was himself, and a sword, a popular general to enforce the new rules.
Well, funny story, C as his first pick for the sword gets himself killed in battle. So he turns to the one man in France whose fame and ambition eclipsed everyone else's, Napoleon Bonaparte, who had just made his dramatic return from his campaign in Egypt.
And Napoleon did not waste any time. In what's known as the coup of 18 Brumaire, he moved with lightning speed. November 9th, he uses the army to basically take over the government and forces the other directors to resign. The very next day, a small, leftover part of the parliament dutifully abolishes the old constitution and creates the consulate. And just like that, the coup was over. It was now the law of the land.
So a new constitution gets written up, right? But this thing was a work of political genius, and I mean that in a very sneaky way. It created this perfect illusion of a republic, while in reality, it concentrated almost all the power into Napoleon's hands. So this new government was called the Consulate. On paper, you had 3 leaders, 3 consuls. But let's be real, this was a republic in name only. The entire setup was engineered to give all the real authority to just one person, the First Consul, Napoleon Bonaparte.
And get this, the structure of the government was a masterpiece of controlled chaos. You had a council of state that drafted laws, but Napoleon appointed them. You had a tribunate that could debate the laws, but they couldn't vote on them. Then you had a legislature that could vote, but they weren't allowed to debate. See what's happening here? The whole system was designed to go nowhere, ensuring that only the first consul could ever really get anything done.
Now, with the whole government machine basically his to command, Napoleon didn't just kick back and relax. Oh no. He started rolling out a very clear 5-step playbook to turn his temporary job into a permanent throne for himself and his family.
And the playbook was brilliant in its simplicity. Step 1, secure the top spot. Check. Step 2, get the people to say they want you there. Step 3, deliver the peace and quiet they're all desperate for. Step 4, get rid of anyone who speaks out against you. And finally, Step 5, make your power permanent. Every single step was a calculated trade. I'll give you stability, you give me a little bit of your freedom.
So first, he needed to look legitimate. In 1800, he puts his new constitution up for a national vote, and the official result, an absolutely staggering 99.9% approval. Now, yeah, that number is, let's just say it's highly suspicious. But the truth is, Napoleon was genuinely popular, and this vote gave him the stamp of approval he wanted.
2 years later, after he'd already secured some major peace treaties, he did it again. He held another vote, this time asking the people to make him First Consul for life. The result? Another ridiculous landslide, 99.7%. His power wasn't temporary anymore. It was permanent. And here's the crucial part. Napoleon actually delivered on his promises. He got a peace treaty with Austria. He made peace with the Catholic Church, which was huge for calming things down inside France. He even managed a temporary peace with Great Britain. For a country that had known nothing but chaos for 10 years, this was everything. So when he started silencing his critics, most people just saw it as a small price to pay for order. Okay, so by 1804, Napoleon's got it all. He's got peace with other countries, he's got order at home, and he's been made ruler for life. There's really only one major threat left: the royalists, the people who wanted to tear it all down and put a king back on the throne.
And that threat suddenly became very real. A plot, funded by the British, was uncovered. The plan? Kidnap and assassinate Napoleon and restore the old Bourbon monarchy. And when a Bourbon prince, the Duke of Enghien, was tied to the plot, Napoleon decided it was time to send a message that nobody would ever forget.
The Duke wasn't exactly helping his own case. He was living right across the border and pretty much admitted that he was taking money from the British and was just waiting for his chance to go to war with Napoleon's government. To Napoleon, this was a confession. It was treason.
Napoleon's response was unbelievably fast and brutal. He sent soldiers across the border, totally illegal by the way, to kidnap the Duke. They brought him back to Paris, threw him in front of a military court, and found him guilty. The very same day, he was taken out and executed by firing squad. The message couldn't have been clearer. Oppose me, and I will destroy you, no matter who you are.
And the reaction to this execution tells you everything you need to know about Napoleon's grip on power. Outside of France, there was a huge storm of anger. People saw it as a barbaric murder. But inside France, barely a peep. The French people, who are finally feeling safe for the first time in years, just saw it as a necessary evil to protect their newfound stability.
With all of his enemies silenced and his power totally absolute, the final charade was over. Just 2 months after the Duke's execution, the government officially declared the Consulate finished. The French Republic was dead. Napoleon Bonaparte, the First Consul, was now Napoleon I, Emperor of the French.
In the end, the Consulate was the bridge that took France from revolutionary chaos to an empire. It gave the French people the stability they were so desperate for, but it also proved just how easily and how willingly a nation can trade away its freedom for the promise of security from a strong leader. The revolution was over, and an empire had begun.